Hello, Lake Havasu. Welcome back to another Traffic Tip Tuesday. I'm Sergeant Jerry Burns, bringing you today's tip. Today we're going to talk about common parking violations that we see out there. We get numerous calls for traffic issues, and a lot of them are parking related. One of the first ones we're going to talk about is parking adjacent to the curb. And that's where your vehicle, the right-hand side, passenger side, can be no more than 18 inches from the curb. And this addresses vehicles that are parked the wrong way. So if you park on a street and you are facing the wrong direction on there, your right-hand wheels are definitely more than 18 inches from the curb. And it's not listed as parking in the wrong direction, but that's the city code that we use for that. The next one we're going to talk about is parking on curbless roadway. Curbless roadway is a lot of issues in town because we don't have curbs everywhere in town. If there is no curb on your street, your vehicle needs to be parked completely off the roadway and in the proper direction of travel. So if you're on the right-hand side of the roadway, it's got to be parked facing that direction that you're going. And again, wheels completely need to be off of the roadway. Next one that we're going to be talking about is stopping or parking where prohibited. You cannot park on a sidewalk. You cannot park in a driveway. And that's some of the common issues we get. People have their driveway and they'll have multiple visitors come over for a weekend or what have you, and the back end of the car is blocking that sidewalk that runs through that driveway. Just so you know, that sidewalk is city property and you're not allowed to park or leave your vehicle blocking that sidewalk. We do get those calls quite often, so please do not do that. Next one we're going to look at is parking adjacent to schools. If you pull up to a school, there are several signs around the front of the schools that show you where you cannot stop, stand, or park at any time. And this addresses not only parking the vehicle, but if you pull up to drop your child off, let them out, and then you take off, that is also illegal. Those signs say that you cannot park, stand, or stop in those areas. That's a common violation that we typically hit at the beginning of the school year, reminding all the drivers that you need to pay attention to those signs throughout the entire year. And there's also hours listed on those signs as to when you can do that. Next one that we're going to have is the curb marking violations. So you'll have a red, which is your fire zone. You do not want to park a vehicle in the red zone in there at any time to block that. Once you walk away from that vehicle, you are subject to citation. The next one is going to be your green zones. You'll see some of these downtown now that have limited time parking. I believe the new ones downtown now are 2-hour parking time limits, and you need to make sure you abide by that. Next one we're going to talk about is vehicles parked for sale on city property. You used to be able to see a lot of vehicles parked in the parking lot down by the walking path on the island for sale, and this new city ordinance blocks that from happening. It was beginning to fill up with a lot of cars, boats, or different things people wanted to sell, creates a liability for the city. So you are no longer allowed to park them in those areas or on any city property with a for sale sign up. Also included in that is parking for sale along the highway corridor. If you look on SR 95 near Lowe's at Chenoweth, there's a dirt lot over there that people like to park their cars for sale. We do issue citations in there. We do try to make calls to the owners to get those vehicles moved if we can reach them. If not, then they're cited and can eventually be towed from that area. Another one is called parking out of space. If there are designated lines on a street for you to park your vehicle, you need to park within the confines of those lines. If they are diagonal and you have a boat and behind you and you want to park that trailer along in there and you can't fit into those spaces, you're not allowed to legally park in those areas. You need to take that unit somewhere else, find the proper parking for it. If it's in an alleyway, something nearby that allows you to park that way, move the vehicle there. You can't take up multiple spaces for that. Next one is going to be commercial vehicles in residential streets. You're not allowed to park semis or any kind of commercial vehicle on those city streets in that area. We do get calls on this once in a while, and we do go and try to reach out to the owner, educate them on what they need to do, and then after that, sometimes we do have to issue citations. There are commercial areas in town where you can park that commercial motor vehicle, leave it overnight, but again, that's where you're going to fall into abandoned vehicle time. If you leave it there more than 48 hours, then it's subject to citation and towing at that point. So make sure that you park it in a designated area and park it properly and move it within the allotted time frame. If you park your vehicle on the street or your RV on the street in front of your house and you're going to leave it there more than 48 hours, it needs to be able to be moved within every 48 hours. So once you park it there, keep track of it, and if you're going to leave it there for a week, it still has to be moved every couple of days so that it's not sitting in the same spot. Thank you for attending today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to my office, 928-855-1171.